Salutations. Yes, cringe. I know, it's great. Anyways, let's get to the build. Today we are going over Valkyr, one of my three favorite frames. My three are Hildren, Ureli, Valkyr, in case you were wondering. Uh, Hopefully you appreciate the fashion game I got on Valkyr. I really like it. Going for a kind of a, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I was going for here. I just know I like it. Valkyr is, in my opinion, extremely underrated. I've said that about so many things, I know. Don't worry about it. We don't nitpick the semantics around here. Valkyr is amazing. People just don't know how to build and or use her right. Yes, she's not brain dead meta like all of the things that people just want to use and never use anything else. But she is quite strong nonetheless. So first of all, we're going to go over what her abilities are. So we've got her passive is recover 50% faster from being knocked down. That's decent, I guess. Honestly, we're going to go for sure-footed so we don't get knocked down. Actually, that's not true. We're going to use her 4, which you'll see you have immunity to all status effects during your 4, so knockdown counts as well. Uh, Another part of her passive, though, that isn't stated there, used to be, I believe, is you do not have the stagger from falling from a great height. So if you fall down a great distance and you don't like slide when you hit the ground, you're not going to have to deal with that animation. Honestly, that right there makes her the best Warframe in the game. Don't even at me. So back to her abilities. We have Ripline, Spider-Man. Grab something or fly to it, or you can grab an enemy and pull them to you, though it's not extremely effective. I do enjoy it though. If they ever rework Valkyr, please, DE, do not take away Ripline. Maybe buff the velocity on it, how far you go, but don't take it away. I love it. Warcry. Now, this is important. This is where our attack speed is going to come from for our melee. Valkyr lets out a rallying cry that bolsters allies' attack speed while slowing down nearby enemies. We're not going to use it for the support. We don't care about our teammates. They can get fucked. I mean, that's not bad. Speed decrease 30%. That's irrelevant. That's only on cast to nearby enemies. We don't care about that either. The armor increase is nice if you're not on your 4, but we just want the speed increase. That's 50% attack speed, scaling with strength. Base, that's almost as much as a primed Fury maxed out. That's really good. So once we get a ton of strength going, that's going to give us a lot of attack speed. Now, paralysis, her 3. This is absolute dog water. Do not ever build for this. I probably will because I'm weird and I want to make it work. But it is one of the worst abilities in the game. This will always be your Helminth option. I know Ripline, people might not like it and they'll replace this, but trust me, paralysis is worse. It's the best one to replace for Helminth. Then we've got her bread and butter, Hysteria. This is her Radiance weapon, or Exalted weapon, sorry. It will start at 2.5 second energy drain and scale up to 15 the longer you're in it. When you are in your form, you are invincible. Your health bar will go gray, like so. You will also be immune to status effects, including knockdown. Now, you also get this very cool animation when you jump. You're all like spinny and stuff. It's pretty cool. Now, the base range of this is absolutely horrible. On the top right, you'll see it scales up, showing how far into our 4 we are, like duration-wise, for how much energy it costs. Now, we're gonna get around pretty easily, so you don't really need to worry about it. Our main problems are attack speed is bad, but we fix that with Warcry. And our range is horrible, but the base damage is very good. It also has this little twirl that you can do as a slide attack, which has deceptively large range. It has so much more range than it honestly should. And the rest of her combo is okay. Her heavy attack is a slam with her foot. It is unbelievably satisfying to use, and it does pretty hefty damage as well. And after they changed how slam attacks work and they scale with mons now, after Dante and Bound came out, it's better than ever. So let's get to what mods we have on. Ignore that squeaking, it was my chair. So we are going to go with my first build, Agony. I know, cringe name, it's great. We have Steel Charge, extra melee damage, and that's going to give us the most mod capacity that we can get. Swing Line is an augment for her that goes in the Exilus. It's 20% parkour velocity, and after using Rip Line, we get 4 Rip Lines for free if we use it in the air. Not needed, totally preference. Parkour velocity helps get around though. That's why I like it. But for the build, I can take it off, so you don't have to see, like, you don't need it. Now we have all 3 Umbra mods on. I know people are not going to want to put Umbra Forma on their Valkyr. I did because I love her, but you do not need Umbra Forma on her. Fiber and Vitality, when you're in your 4, you're invincible. You don't need the survivability. And the extra bit of strength you get from having these two, the 33%, is nice, but it's also not needed. So for this build, we are taking both of these off. Eternal War is very important though. It's the augment for 2, and it will increase the duration of her 2 Warcry every time you get a melee kill, including kills with her 4. This scales with duration, so if you have like a 200% duration, you'll get 4 seconds back. You don't need a ton of duration with this build though. Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, all to give us as much strength as we can possibly get. We're sitting at 298% right now. Prime Continuity to help balance out the duration so it's at least not terrible. Then we have Molt Augmented for another 60% strength. Do keep in mind, though, your 4 snapshots, your strength value. So if you cast it and you stay in it for 20 minutes into a mission, but you want to get the bonus strength from Molt Augmented, you are going to have to end it and recast. The same applies for Warcry. Unfortunately, if you want Warcry to end with Eternal War active, that's going to be a really big pain in the ass. So that might be annoying, but honestly, your strength is so high in this build, 300%, that you don't need the extra 60%. Your attack speed's going to be crazy already. Equilibrium is very important for energy sustaining. You do not need Arcane Energize. That just helps. It's the cherry on top to be safe, but you don't need it. So we're going to take that off. Now, Prime Flow is actually very important here if you don't have the Archon shards, like I do. So we'll go over the Archon shards real quick. 1 for casting speed, not needed, but very nice. Though, due to how often you're casting your abilities, your 1 and your 3, which is the Helminth, we'll go over in a second, are both instant. So it just affects initial cast for 2 and 4, which a lot of the time when you're in a mission, you're only going to cast each of those once at the start of mission, and that's it. So you do not need the casting speed, though I do enjoy it. Then we have Energy Max, Energy Max, Energy Max. The only reason I have those is so my energy wasn't nuked while running triple Umbral mods. That way I wouldn't have to have Prime Flow. You don't need any Archon shards in your Valkyr. Completely unnecessary. Now, back to the build. Our energy normally without the Archon shards is going to be sitting at 600 and let me think, I'm bad at math, 641 I believe. Since we don't have this mod field, you can put whatever you want here, as well as the Exilus if you don't go for her augments. Those are not important. As well as this arcane slot. Totally up to what you want. Now our Helminth. This is very, very nice. Wrathful Advance. It is Kalervo's Helminth. Now you will get 100% without mods. Flat crit chance to all melees, including her 4, after you cast it. And that scales with strength. Since we're at just under 300% strength, it's almost 300% flat crit chance. That's 3 crit tiers. And it lasts for 12.75 seconds. With how cheap it is, and the fact that it's instant when you cast it, we can have this up all of the time. Now, you are going to want to be careful. If you target an enemy with Wrathful Advance, it is going to automatically heavy attack, and we don't want to accidentally consume our combo. See? Like that. So do me a favor and yourself and just cast it at the floor, unless you want to heavy attack, in which case, I mean, sure, I guess. If you have Tennokai activated and you time it right, it will use Tennokai on the heavy, so you don't lose your combo. Now, to make life easier, go to options, go to invert, tap, hold, go to Kalervo, and change it to inverted. Otherwise, you have to hold it for it to be instance, and because normally the tap is targeted only. So invert it if you wish. Now, this is going to be, like I said, 3 crit tiers. The teleporting is also nice movement. This is going to be our attack speed. So we have a lot of attack speed on her 4. Now we're getting to the build on her claws. Discipline's merits or another Tennokai is nice here because that way you can proc it, and Tennokai does some big damage on her heavy attacks. And then we have Condition Overload. As you can see, our status is terrible. We're going to go over how we get status effects to practice in a minute. Prime Fever Strike, you can run normal Fever Strike. As always, you don't have to have the best version of a mod to make it work, it's just slightly less damage. Organ Shatter, Gladiator Might for crit damage. Primed Reach Spring Loaded Blades so that our range goes up because the base range, hang on, all of these have builds, hang on. There we go. 1.7 is really, really bad. But follow through stat, if you did not know, the follow through stat normally on other melees is lower than 1. Like on Cronin, it is 0.6. That means for every enemy hit after the first enemy, it does 0.6 or 60% of the original damage to the next enemy. And then if you hit a third enemy, it's going to do 60% of the damage it did to the second enemy, and so on. So your damage starts to go down the more enemies you hit at once. But her claws, as well as other exalted weapons that are melees, has a 1.0 follow through. So we want to maximize our range as much as possible to make use of that. Hence, Primed Reach and Spring Loaded Blade. With this 4.7, Spring Loaded brings it up to 6.7. And then, like I said earlier, her slide, weird twirly thing has, I swear, way more range than it should. Honestly, it feels like it's 10 meters sometimes, though I might just be schizophrenic. I've got more elemental damage with North Wind, Sacrificial Steel for crit chance. I know, another Umbra mod, don't worry about it. You can run something else, a normal crit chance mod, because this is just more crit chance, but we already have so much from our Wrathful Advance, and you'll see here in a second the Gladiator mod set, that it's not necessary. So the Gladiator combo multiplier, if it is, to my knowledge, if you have them on your exalted weapon, that does not work. It will not give the bonus crit chance. And you also cannot run Blood Rush on exalted weapons. I think it's stupid, honestly, but it is what it is. Though you can get the Gladiator set to work, so you have a pseudo Blood Rush. If you run the Gladiator set on your normal melee weapon, then you will make it proc for all melees you have equipped, including your claws. So today we're running Cronin because of the 10% parkour velocity. No other reason. It's just a stat stick here. Uh, Kratos would be way better. I don't have that crafted yet. Don't worry about it. There's probably other better stat sticks for movement speed. This is just what I'm using right now. The only thing you need to have on is the Gladiator mods. So Gladiator Vice, Gladiator Rush, Gladiator Might. That way you get a 30% crit chance per combo multiplier. So when you're at 12 times, that's 330% due to the first one not counting. So only 11 added on to 1 counts for the stacks. Gladiator Rush is also nice since, it's a stat stick that counts to your combo duration on everything, including your claws. So you don't need this or this or this or this or this, just the Gladiator mods. Now, because we are running Condition Overload as a source of damage rather than pressure point, we have to have status procs. 10% base on the claws, it's quite bad. Real bad. I'm running viral damage, that's not important. I just felt like it. Honestly, Corrosive would probably be significantly better here for when you're hitting armored enemies, but I'm too lazy to reform right now because I was just messing around with builds. Also, in case you haven't noticed, 11 forma and 10 forma on her claws, that's not needed. I just have a problem, okay? I'm a crack addict for Valkyr. Don't worry about it. Now, our pets is where our priming will come from. Diarrhea, the Holy Lord himself. This pet makes life amazing. It makes life so much better, so much more succulent and worth living. Now, we have Arc Coil, which will apply electricity as a 10% status chance to enemies up to 7 within 10 meters. This has like a 5-second cooldown, though it feels a lot lower, more like 2. And Manifold Bond. Manifold Bond, both of the parts here are extremely important. Companion preset mods apply status effects from companion weapons. Okay? That is guaranteed, which means whatever status is, and in this case we have heat, radiation, viral, every single arc coil proc is going to guarantee apply all 3 of those status effects. That means we have 3 status effects for our condition overload. That's 240% damage. That's quite good. Then if it actually procs electricity, that's even more. That's going to be 320% damage. On top of that, we're getting more damage because viral is being applied. Heat, if they don't die immediately, will help shred their armor over time for even more damage. Then, Manifold Bond, so killing an enemy with 3 or more unique status procs, which Arc Coil's already applying at. This is like an endless cycle, it just loops in on itself, will reduce the cooldown of Arc Coil by 3 seconds. So Arc Coil, as long as you're getting kills, is going to proc literally non-stop. It will always be active. Guardian for more survivability, this is not necessary. Mystic Bond gives you a lot of energy sustain because every 5 times your pet casts an ability, you get a free ability cast on your Warframe. And like I said, Arc Coil is going off literally non-stop, so that's a lot of free casts. Synth Deconstruct is also extremely important here. Enemies injured have a 25% chance to drop a health orb if they're injured by the companion. Arc Coil, again, tagging everything. Now, that's combined with Equilibrium is going to give us all of the energy that we are going to need because this is, as you'll see, with negative efficiency, and we're going to be in this constantly 18 energy per second plus casting Wrathful Advance all the time, can get a bit expensive, but this is going to fix that entirely. Momentous Bond, so that killing an Xmas can help our companion revive faster if he dies, as well as give a random element, so if it gives an element we don't already have, that's another priming element for more damage. Vacuum to grab stuff, prime regen, yada yada, the normal stuff, and Tenacious Bond for 1.2 final crit damage multiplier, if we have 50% more or more crit chance on our companion weapon. That's nice because the base crit damage on the claws isn't high. Without that, it's at 5.0 with our mods, Organ Shatter, and Gladiator Might, but with this we go up to 6.2. So altogether, that's a lot going on. Now, Meramon, Power Spike. All you need to worry about. Opening Slam is nice too to build up combo, but Power Spike is what we mainly care about. If you want to make sure you don't run out of your combo as fast on top of that, you can run any secondary weapon with secondary dexterity. Primer does work here if you wanted to do that. You could use Epitaph for more priming because you can use guns while you are in your claws. You can switch to your weapons. Then same thing for your primary weapon. I like to run the Miter Incarnon. You do not need the Incarnon. We just use it to pop null fire bubbles to neutralize Injustice. And then primary dexterity again, so we have more combo duration. And then Amalgam Serration if you have it for extra sprint speed. Nothing else matters on it. Now, let us get into the damage testing. Always cast 2. Always cast your 3. I should have gone into my 4 first. Now this is going to be without our combo builds up, and without grouping. And hang on, I already damaged these guys apparently. Unfortunately, it seems like our Diarrhea is bugged out because that's what he does in the simulator. He's a little meanie like that. Maybe he'll work now? Yes, there we go. As you can see, this is dopamine galore. Now, yes, you can kill enemies faster with melee influence, but are you immune to damage with melee influence? This gives us status immunity, including knockdown. It also gives us damage immunity. It is insane amounts of dopamine. It is extremely satisfying. And this, with the exception of like heat if they don't die immediately, for the most part we have no armor strip here. Now this can go up to like level 1000 no problem. You'll be deleting enemies like they're nothing. But if you wanted to do a level cap with this build, you will start to run into a problem with enemy armor. As you can see, it does pretty good damage. So if you wanted to deal with enemies that were heavily armored, I do have an alternate build, though your crits won't be as high. and it looks like this. You can go for the same exact thing here. You don't need to change anything onto this other than maybe stretch is nice to have. You don't need the double umbra mods, like I said. You don't need swing line, like I said. Stretch is nice because we swap out Wrathful Advance for Thero Strike to get the armor strip. Now, I believe it has 60% base defense reduction, so you need, what, like 168% strength to full strip, but we're obviously building strength anyways, so we're fine here. Again, Arcanes, you don't need Energized, not needed, Bolt Augmented, just for more strength. It's the same exact build for the most part, except we just went for a little more range and Thero Strike rather than Wrathful Advance. So your crits won't be quite as high, though you will be able to armor strip. In which case, you will be able to take this to level cap. Because normally, enemies are way too tanky with their armor if you didn't have armor strip. But with armor strip, they're gonna melt like butter, especially once you have your combo built up. You're definitely gonna want to get your combo up. That makes a big difference in your damage. Like so, I just realized I forgot to armor strip there. So we are at a 12 times combo multiplier now. So we can show it off while armor stripping this time with 12 times. You can see that it is quite effective, though it can be annoying to... Wow, I didn't think I killed like all of them that fast. It can be annoying to be casting Thero Strike to strip armor, but you're just going to have to accept it if you are doing level cap content, unless you have something else to armor strip. If you wanted, you could run 2 green shards and a primer for corrosive, such as Compressa or Nucor, something to that effect, though I personally don't care for that. I just want to run in, scream at them, and everything dies. So that is the Valkyr build video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll learn something. Hopefully you'll try Valkyr. I think she is super underrated. I mean, again, damage immunity, status immunity, big damage. What more can you ask for? It's very good. It is a lot of dopamine, and she's really fun, especially her sounds. Just listen to the scream. I mean, if that doesn't turn you on, then I honestly don't know what will. So, if you liked the video, subscribe, leave a like, and if you didn't, then dislike the video, so I know that it fucking sucked. Adios.